everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be the beginning of a series all about my favorite book characters of all time. I thought I would start with 5 favorite male characters. You're going to notice there's a pattern here. A lot of them tend to be wholesome. Apparently I have a type. And I'm going to just talk about them. It will not be spoiler free. I just can't talk about most of these without spoiling the story. So definitely feel free to skip ahead if you don't want any spoilers, but most of these books are quite famous, so you might not need to. Let's begin with one of my all-time favorite for sure, and it is Sam from Lord of the Rings, Samwise Gamgee. How wholesome is that character? I absolutely love him to bits. In the movies, in the books, and he starts the journey as a freaking gardener. Which, how badass is that he's going to go on a journey to destroy the ring? He had never left the Shire and he's willing to go through all of this. Super loyal to Frodo, even whenever Frodo was trying to push him away, being, brainwashed by the ring and Gollum. And whenever he thought Frodo had been murdered, he was willing to attempt to destroy the ring all on his own, which, so courageous. And whenever, that's an important part, whenever he realized that Frodo wasn't dead, he willingly gave back the ring. Which nobody could do that pretty much except like Bilbo. Also funny that the ring was tempting him. I think it was with gardens. Like, how wholesome is that? So yes, I absolutely love him to bits. If we have to debate who's the real hero, I feel like there's always a debate. Is it Frodo? Is it Gollum? Is it Sam? In my head, it is Sam. Because there is absolutely no way this mission would have been accomplished without him. He's just... I love him. Plus the fact that he was able to actually go back to live a normal life afterwards is just easily one of my all-time favorite characters ever. So if you still haven't read Lord of the Rings, you might not have actually even watched this part, but I still highly recommend it. Love him. I just, will forever love him. It would not be a video about some of my all-time favorite characters without mentioning this one from A Little Life. I wanted to talk about Willem because, oh my god, do I have a soft spot for him. I think he made this book what it is, at least to me. Obviously, the writing is great. The characters in general are great. The stories, you're following your life stories. Obviously, if you're seeing this part, it's because you have read the book. But the 4 friends, everything that happens to them throughout their whole lives. But Willem also had a difficult, his life. Grew up, he's not super rich. He also lost his parents. And he becomes very close with Jude. And eventually, they start a relationship. And we are told more and more everything that Jude went through, which is like so much trauma. However, Willem is just there the whole time loving him. And I just, oh my god, I adore him. And obviously the ending, the reason I couldn't finish this book, I did eventually, but it took me forever. I kept putting it down because everything keeps becoming worse and worse. And him dying is just, I could not live with it. Anyway, absolutely adore this book. Definitely kind of trauma porn-ish, but Willem just seemed like such a good, decent person. So for that reason, he's also one of my all-time favorite characters. I love him to bits. I don't have words. It just feels. It wouldn't be a video about my favorite characters without mentioning Sazed from the Mistborn universe by Brandon Sanderson. I'm showing the first book, but he's technically only part of the second book onward. I absolutely adore him. Once again, very, very wholesome. I just really like the idea of that quiet, studious scholar in this case becoming the hero of the book. I also liked his journey, the fact that in the beginning he's very, very religious and then he falls in love with one of his fellow keeper. And whenever she dies, he ends up becoming, doubting himself, his religion, his usefulness, and then essentially becoming a god, which interesting journey. I feel like no one could have done as well as he had. I really appreciate in the story the fact that you don't know who the hero of ages is. You think it's Finn, and then turns out it's him the whole time, being kind of gender neutral names referring to the hero of ages. So I just really like him, just really great vibes in general from him. And yes, he's a little bit more quiet than the other ones, but I really appreciated that about him. So definitely also someone that I think has really great vibes. So I had to mention Sazed. Is that how you pronounce his name? I feel like that's not, but that's how I've been pronouncing it in my head. I also wanted to talk about Glocta from The First Law by Joe Abercrombie. Please do not spoil it for me. At the moment, I've only finished the first book. I am going to be starting the second one anytime now, but so far I absolutely adore him. I went into this series knowing a lot about Logan. I feel like everyone raved about him, And turned out that Glocta was so much better, at least for me, in the first book. They're kind of the opposite, right? Logan was the evil character that became good, and then Glocta was the hero that was captured during the war, was tortured, and became kind of the opposite. He's very, very bitter, which makes him very interesting, but also funny in his like inner monologues, which is definitely the best part in my opinion in the book. And the fact that he's just like obviously struggling, and him resenting everyone, being very bitter, and cynical, and it's just wonderful to follow. Would not want to be in his shoes because he's only, I think, 35, but his body is basically betraying him with his legs. So he's amazing to follow. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the series will bring, and I look forward to reading more from him. So please, again, do not spoil it for me, but I have a feeling it's going to be my favorite character in the whole trilogy. So yes. Last but definitely not least, I wanted to talk about Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, because it's the only romance in this video. There probably won't be a ton of romance in these videos, but I wanted to mention this one because first off, I recently did a video actually talking about all the characters in all the adaptations that I've watched. So if you are interested, I included clips. We basically debated which adaptation had the best version of each character. It was a lot of fun, and we'll definitely actually be doing more of these, but I wanted to talk about Mr. Darcy because first off, I do love him, but I feel like sometimes people don't understand the hype and they just don't like him, and I want to defend him here. People need to keep in mind that Jane Austen tends to write characters that are like silly in the sense that they are meant to be laughed at, or just like they're supposed to be funny, which I think her books are witty and funny. And I think a lot of us enjoy Mr. Darcy as a character because of the character's growth, not because he's rich and handsome, you know? So in the beginning, obviously Mr. Darcy is seen as being very prideful. He's treating everyone at the first ball, I should say, and he's treating everyone with contempt because they aren't attractive enough for him or just lower birth. And obviously he's not great in the beginning. However, when he eventually falls in love with Elizabeth and he's asking her to marry him, she obviously puts him in his place a little too harshly, but you know, that's the point of the book. She reproaches him two different things that he will go ahead and fix. First off, Wickham, because he hid what happened with his sister. That's how he can continue basically being a predator, and basically went ahead and saved Lydia and obviously paid a ton of money to fix the issue. And then the second thing was that he prevented Jane, Elizabeth's sister, to get married to one of his friends because he told him that she didn't seem to be into him. So he went ahead and fixed the situations and didn't expect Elizabeth to change her mind about him and marrying him, which is what I think everyone enjoys, the growth, the fact that he fixed everything without expecting anything in return. So obviously, that's when she falls in love with him, and we're all very happy about it. So yes, overall, I really enjoy him because of the character's growth. If you have any recommendation of other books with this kind of growth, let me know, because that's definitely one of my favorite things that I've been noticing, especially in the last couple of years, that I enjoy a lot. So these are 5 of my all-time favorite characters in books. Please let me know in the comment section if you have read these books, what you think about these characters. Do you also enjoy them? Also, what are some of yours? Because I want to know. I'm always looking forward to reading from amazing characters. I feel like they can make or break a book. I tend to be more of a action-driven book kind of person, but it's because I need to really connect with the characters to be more into book-driven, character-driven stories. So in these cases, most of these actually are character-driven, except Miss Bourne. So yes, they just make a huge difference for me. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in an upcoming video very soon. Bye.